Can God create a rock that he can't lift? Some rocks are really, really big. This is one kind of big rock. This is another kind of big rock. This is also a kind of big rock. Really? And then there is today's topic, this kind of big rock. Now, throughout the ages, there have always been great philosophical questions. For example, what is the purpose of life? Is there a way to tell if you're currently awake or dreaming? Can we ever really experience anything objectively? Which is better, iPhone or Android? What about, did hands shoot first? And for those of you playing at home, the answers are pleasure, no, iPhone, and yes. And one more classic question. Can God create a rock that he can't lift? And that's today's question. Can God create a rock that he can't lift? Now, this is actually a very old question, even older than Star Wars: A New Hope. It's called the omnipotence paradox, and it goes back at least until the Middle Ages and possibly earlier. And the reason why it's called a paradox is because there appears to be no good answer. If we say that God can create a rock that he can't lift, then it seems like God has a limitation because he can't lift the rock. So that's not a good answer. On the other hand, if we say that God can't create a rock that he can't lift, then it seems like God has a limitation because he can't create the rock. So it's a gotcha question. Damned if you do, damned if you don't. So how do we answer the question? Well, remember on the first day of your job, when they told you to ask whatever questions you had, and they said, there's no such thing as a bad question. Now prepare yourself, because they lied. Not every question is a good question. And there certainly are badly designed questions. If something is illogical, then saying it can't be done doesn't prove anything. Let's say I ask you to make a circular triangle. Well, the definition of a triangle is a shape with 3 sides and 3 angles that add up to 180 degrees. And the definition of a circle is a shape whose circumference is always equidistant from its center. So a triangle and a circle are mutually exclusive. So something logically can't be both a triangle and a circle at the same time. So in this case, calling it a paradox is a fancy way of saying it's a broken question. And similarly, if something goes against Hashem's nature, in other words, it's illogical, then God not being able to do it doesn't mean that God is somehow less than perfect. Because there are lots of things that God can't do because they go against his nature. For example, God can't fall asleep in front of the TV. God can't forget to pay a bill. God can't mix up the decaf and the regular coffee, and so on. God can create big rocks. God can create small rocks. God can create any sized rocks. But the fact that God can't create a rock that is logically impossible to create is not a flaw in God, nor is it a flaw in the rock. Rather, it's a flaw in the question.